One more point, because now you see with social media today, sometimes incorrect information gets out and becomes viral. Now, for instance, let's take this 808 million rupees, dollars, right? And I saw multiple interpretations. Now, why does that happen? We should not allow non-technical interpretations to be be made the narrative, right? No, I don't think it's deliberate. I think people just don't know, right? I mean, most people do not know why. I mean, it says errors and omissions $808 million. For just take 2 minutes for our own consumption. Perhaps you can tell our committee. I know what has happened, but our committee, and then think about these matters, technical matters, how you can present to the wider audience so that they don't become, political footballs, whoever is in government.
Yeah, that's a good point. You see, I'm not quite sure why this was picked up by someone and went through a social media, but this is errors and omission of compilation balance of payments standard knowledge for any economic student, even LOL student, they know it. This is a kind of a technical thing that every school education they teach about this. But problem is that not all citizens know this. Then obviously when you compile foreign exchange transaction of a particular year, that's a called balance of payment compilation. When you look at the categorization of that, we have imports, exports, interest payments, remittances, and within that large category of transaction, when that's a current account. Then below that, financial account is basically inflow is a credit, outflow is a debit. Is in any kind of a accounting system, private company or any other company, credit and debit should be matched, and there can't be discrepancy, it would net zero. But when you compile for instance, transaction of a country, is large part is based on surveys and estimates. For example, if you take imports, we have a clear data because all are going through the customs. Import and export goods and services, customs clearly record. So that's a very clear, accurate data source. But when you look at the corresponding financial transaction, that's debit part or credit part of the financial transaction. It's in the financial account. So imports, for example, 20 billion a year, then we have to trace this 20 billion to the banking system where it is recorded. It's very difficult to reconcile all the import millions of transactions with banks. So what we collect from the banks report, okay, these are the inflows that they are coming. So likewise, if you look at the hundreds of line items, no country can ever reconcile both debits and credits of a balance of payment compilation. Only there is a discrepancy based on either in the estimation, undervaluation or overvaluation. Then if you add up all these discrepancies, both sides credits and debits, there is a gap. That's a balancing item. Balancing item is what is recorded as a net errors and omission, so that all add up to zero, including errors and omission. That is the accounting compilation process. That is what people interpret. I think there has to be a concern if we see net errors and omissions have been increasing the same direction significantly as a percent of GDP, then that gives an indication there has something been not properly reported, some underestimation or overestimation happening over a period of time. But usually it is sometimes negative, sometimes positive. It can never be zero. This is what, if you look at our pattern also, last year minus $254 million, this year minus 800, but previous year it was zero, then we have positive some years. That is not a concern. So it is a natural way. For example, one example is exports. So export custom data says 12 billion exports a year, but the relevant proceeds are coming from 2 months later. Within the financial year, there's a discrepancy. But previous year, 2 months coming back to the system, But if there's a difference between last year, how long people take to repair to a process, and this is a difference, then there's a deviation. That is recorded as accounted as errors and omissions. That I think this is, I want to make it very clear. This errors and omission is that I saw social media reports and some media presentations saying that Central Bank lost 800 million. That is completely unfounded, false statement. There's nothing lost by the Central Bank, nothing lost by anyone here. It is a discrepancy in the data recording.
AsianMirror.lk